He had a rough life. He should have a peaceful Gan Eden.
Amen, amen. He did a lot of Chevra Kadisha, a lot.
Yeah. Well, that's a big thing. That's a chesed shlemis. I'm sure it'll be very good for him. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, so
I don't know
what
if
we're talking about is used to be a young man used to come to the Tanya class a couple of months ago, maybe more than a couple months ago. He used to come from Deerfield Beach. He used to come to the Tanya class. I don't know if you remember him. He was a fruma guy. He was a guy with a little beard. He used to always put through he used to tape me. Well, he used to put on his Facebook the Tanya class. His name is Yisrael. I'm not sure his mother's name. It's Yisrael. And he passed away suddenly.
last name is Meth.
So right, Meth. So since he had a connection to the Tanya, we'll learn L'zecha Nishmasai, that a neshama should have an aliyah, and through our learning, we should soul should find its true menucha, its true peace and tranquility in Elam Ha'emes in the world to come. In Chassidus, we are taught that there's Gan Eden Elyon and there's Gan Eden Tachten. There's the upper Gan Eden and there's the lower Gan Eden. The upper Gan Eden is in the world of Bria. That's why it's called the chamber of the souls of the tzaddikim. That's Gan Eden Elyon. Gan Eden Tachten is in the world of Yitzira, in the world of formation. Self-understood in those two Gan Edens, Eden Elyon and Gan Eden Tachten, there are many levels. Even the Gemara is brought down that the Tana wanted to go into another Tana's Heichal, and he told them, you're not ready to go into, Hun, I think it was, his Neshama wanted to go to Rab Shim Bayachoy, and he said, you're not available for that kind of level in Gan Eden even. So as the Alter Rebbe says, it comes to Shabbos, every Neshama has an aliyah in Gan Eden Elyon. And it has its true menucha. That's why a person dies on Shabbos, out of Shabbos is Mamash has an unbelievable aliyah that it goes into an extremely high level automatically. And on the first time his elevation, he goes to Gan Eden Elyon. The Ein Shabbos to reach up to the Gan Eden, to Atzilus, the world of Atzilus. Great neshamas. We know that the Moshe Rabbeinu's neshama, Shim Bayachoy's neshama, Ashbi. We know that the Baal Shem Tov said the Alter Rebbe's neshama, Chadasha, comes from Atzilus. They came from the world of Atzilus, and the world of Atzilus sees things totally different. These are things in a whole total different way. So an expression of the Rebbe on Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu never did anything wrong and couldn't do anything wrong. It's impossible for the level of Moshe Rabbeinu, for his neshama Atzilus, to do anything wrong, because he had high elevated neshama that it expressed itself in Elam Haza in a whole different reality. And therefore, it's hard for us to comprehend. And Moshe Rabbeinu, that's what the Gemara expresses itself. The Gemara says, whoever says Moshe Rabbeinu made a mistake, the Pasha doesn't know what a mistake is. The Pasha has no idea.
So then why did he hit the rock?
There's a lot of reasons. He hit the rock because he was supposed to hit the rock. He wanted to hit the rock. He hit the rock. Mammy asked the question. He hit the rock and the rock gave out water. Does that show that something? If he didn't have Veda, would the rock give out water?
I mean, Hashem was pretty angry with it.
But like Tisheni, it's in a level of Moshe Rabbeinu, in the concept of Kedusha Moshe Rabbeinu. That's what the Eibusha says, that you didn't do, in your level of Kedusha, you should have shown a higher level of Kedusha. That's why even Moshe, nobody's perfect in the Kedusha. In the aspect of an Aveda, Moshe Rabbeinu never did an Aveda. A tzaddik cannot do an Aveda. If you understand a tzaddik in the Tanya, you can't do an Aveda. So a tzaddik Gomer cannot do an Aveda. not possible for him to do an Aveda. It's impossible for him to do an Aveda. But in Kedusha, there's always an Aveda. Meaning in the level of Kedusha, you're always no higher in Kedusha. Tells Moshe Rabbeinu, you could have been higher in Kedusha. And even Moshe Rabbeinu, who had an Neshama Atzilas, still is an Neshama and still has the capability to go higher in Kedusha. So that Moshe Rabbeinu didn't go higher in Kedusha, the concept of an Aveda to him. But it's not one of the 365 negative commandments in the Torah. It's not possible for Moshe Rabbeinu to do a negative commandment. It's not possible for him. Not that he doesn't want to do it. It's impossible for Moshe Rabbeinu to do Aveda. It's just impossible. By us, we do Avedas Mamish. We do Avedas. We do Avedas Lashon Hara. We do a Machshava Zara. We in Tefillah. We don't learn whatever. We do Chas Shalom Avedas. Sin. But these are sins, are minor sins, and they're capable of rectification more than Chas doing a Issa Lav. So that goes more difficult, and it expresses itself much more powerful. But Moshe Rabbeinu did not sin and Aved in the Torah. Doing a sin in the Torah. He did something that in his level of Kedusha, he could have been higher and gone higher in Kedusha. But he didn't, whatever. He did it for his own reason. Moshe Rabbeinu didn't go into that level of Kedusha, and he decided to not do that, not to go to the higher level of Kedusha. And the answer is, and the reason is, simple Mefarshim say, because Moshe Rabbeinu wanted to protect Am Yisrael. He was willing to have his own Kedusha and his own elevation for the sake of Am Yisrael, for the sake of the Jewish nation. And therefore, he hit the stone because he wanted to show Am Yisrael that it's brought down not only through the aspect of speech, but through an action of a Yid, which we are mostly in the avodah of action, that when we hit something, when we do something in avodah, an action, it accomplishes it in the world. And Moshe Rabbeinu was ready to Macheni Nam Sifrecha. Moshe Rabbeinu, who understood the beauty, the greatness of Torah, the connection of Torah, was willing to not have anything for the sake of it. That was Mesiras Nefesh. That was the love. That's what we see, the love of Moshe Rabbeinu to Am Yisrael. That he was willing to give up everything. He was willing to give up going into Yisrael. He was really willing to give up all inyan in many things in life, not only in his personal life. He was willing to give up all that he should be able for his love of a Jew, of Am Yisrael, that they would have everything they need. And Moshe Rabbeinu was a Muslim. He was completely in what the Eibush wants of a human being in this world. Selfless again. In Kedusha is Ein L'Dav V'Seif. The Eibush is not happy. And actually, the Gemara says that the God is more particular in the neshama of a tzaddik than a regular person. Who, because the Eibush knows that a Rab Minurav, the Eibush knows a regular person has evil. He has the Yetzer Hara, and he has an evil inclination, and he gave him the inclinations. The Eibush understands. God understands that's hard to overcome. And as the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya, if it wasn't for the Eibush's help, we wouldn't overcome our Yetzer Hara. We wouldn't overcome our Yetzer Hara. It's impossible to overcome our Yetzer Hara because it's very different. The Eibush made a very powerful entity within us that is very strong. We shouldn't take it lightly. This Yetzer Hara is extremely strong. Like if you have a person chas shalom with an addiction, don't criticize him. Nobody should have that challenge in life. It's easy to criticize somebody who's addictive. Nobody should have that challenge in life because it's a challenge. It's very difficult to overcome. It's easy to give drushes. It's easy to tell people how they should live their life. It's easy, but it's very hard to live another person's life. It's very hard to live chas shalom person's addiction life. The truth is, we all have addictions. I use the example of addictions because it's a real example. And I see people that I go through it, and my heart goes out to them. And some of them even actually, they have an addiction, and chas shalom takes them away from the world. And I don't blame them. They're so addicted that they cannot control it. It's impossible to control it. And you can tell them, oh, Meshal Lev, you give them all these drushes, and you can tell them, oh, you can give them all the drushes you want in your life. Their addiction is too powerful for them. And it's almost an onus. It's almost an aspect. I've lived through with people this. And that's why when you see a person overcomes addiction, this person deserves a parade down the main road, because it's unbelievable for a person to overcome an addiction. It's unbelievable. It's a great schus for him. It's an unbelievable thing that he has accomplished. And we see some people that have overcome their addictions, and then chas v'shalom they fall into it again. Chas v'shalom, because it's a powerful thing. It's extremely a powerful thing. The Baditsheva, who's the Oiv Yisrael, who's a lover of Jews, one turned to the Eibishter and said, "The Eibishter, you push it not fair. You push it, you made an unfair system." He says, "You put Gashmias in front of people, and Ruchnias in the Sefer, and you put Ruchnias. You should have. That was not a fair situation. It was unfair. You need to put the Gashmias in the books and the spirituality in front of people. That's the way you should have done it." So to answer that question of the Baditchev, it's a good question. I mean, you can talk about spirituality, about godliness, about mind over matter, and the whole Tanya. But if you're in a challenge in life, it's extremely, extremely difficult to overcome. You push it, need to cry out to God to help you overcome a challenge, because it's very difficult for a person to overcome a challenge. Therefore, the Alter Rebbe praises a person that overcomes challenges in life. He says, should these people deserve a lot of credit? And every person's challenge, whether you think it's power, whether you think it's important, whether you think it's simple, to that person at that time, this challenge is an overbearing situation. And the Eibishter gives him that challenge. And it's only between him and God. And you can never judge anybody, chas v'shalom, if he doesn't overcome the challenge. You cannot judge him. Only one who can judge him is the Eibishter, because God knows the challenge he gave him. And God will forgive him for not overcoming the challenge. Trust me, because the Eibishter knows the challenge that he gives a person, that God knows the power of that challenge. And nobody has the right, and nobody can say to another person, you're a failure, you're a loser, you're a sinner, you're going to go to hell, God hates you. No, God loves the person who deals with life. I'm emphasizing this because this is what the beauty of what the Alter Rebbe is going to say in Tanya right now. The beauty of the challenge to realize that it's not the greatness of being Moshe Rabbeinu, the tzaddik of the generation. That's not what God wanted. God sure put Moshe Rabbeinu in the world as he put tzaddikim in every generation that have an instinct love of God. They are innate love of the Eibishter. They have what the Alter Rebbe over here calls a ava rabba, a ava b'tainugim, a love of delight, a love of great love of the Eibishter. It's impossible to break anything. It's impossible them to overcome. And the truth, the Alter Rebbe over here introduces us generally to three avos. We have Ava Rabba, which is a true Ava b'tainugim. It's a love of tzaddikim. It comes from Olam Habriya. Olam Habriya, Alter Rebbe says, is the Olam HaNeshamas of tzaddikim. Why? Because he expresses it, as you'll soon see in a word over here. He says, Ema Ilah Iskanan of the Briya. Ema, the supernal mother in the world of Briya. That's a Kabbalistic term. The supernal mother is Chachma and Bina of the world of Atzilus. In the world of you have Chachma and Bina, the most relevant, the most accentuated concept in Atzilus, in the world of emanation, is Chachma, is wisdom, as mentioned last week. And then it connects to Ein Ima, the mother, which is Bina, understanding. And the mother, Bina, resonates in the world of Briya. The world of Briya is the resonation of that's where is Gan Eden, the Elyon, is the wisdom of HaKadosh Baruch Hu expresses itself in this world. The understanding of God, the understanding, Bina, the understanding of godliness is expressed itself in this world. And that's why tzaddikim who have great understanding in this world, they come to the upper world, they have even a greater understanding. And they have an Eimei law, they have the understanding of the world of, they can have even an understanding of the world of Atzilus, but they're still in the most neshamas of tzaddikim are in the world of Bria, in the world of Bria. And there, that's why the Gemara says, "Av mishim yishabal lekam v'talmud v'gadi kiman tzadikim," who learn Torah in a great depth and great knowledge. When they come Lamaila, wow, they have an unbelievable understanding. That's why it says that even tzaddikim, they come to Shamayim, they forget the world. Why? Because since the true avodah in this world was godly knowledge, they get lost in the godly knowledge above. Imagine how much tainug and delight they had in this world of learning. Now they have even a greater delight in the world to come. It's a greater mesifta derakia. It's like the Gemara says, just like there's a mesifta in this world, just like the house of study or learning in this world, there's a house of study of learning in the world. There's a greater house of learning in the world, in the Olam Abriya, in the world to come. Over there, they have a greater, much deeper understanding, and they're going back to yeshiva. So you can imagine Talmidei Chacham who sat and learned 24/7, and they were bothered with the worldly matters also because they were human beings, so they had to eat and they had to drink. That's why it says, when you come to Gan Eden, what is the expression? There's no food, there's no worry about sleep, there's no worry about other issues. Why does it say that? Because a neshama in this world has a desire for godliness, but he's bothered. He's still bothered. How even Moshe Rabbeinu was bothered with the workings and the trappings of the world and dealing with the Jewish people, the ups and downs. He was bothered. Here you had a Jew who had a great knowledge of godliness and sat and learned Torah 24/7. He had to still be bothered with the world. Now he comes Lamaila. He has no bothersome in the world. The world doesn't bother him anymore. Everything over there is all about godliness. You can imagine the delight that he has Lamaila, that he has in the upper world. He has an unbelievable light in Gan Eden Alien, in the higher level in Gan Eden, because over there, Bina, the concept of understanding is revealed. So now he has true aspect of understanding in heaven. His neshama has total tainig. His neshama is like he's Gan Eden. He's ecstatic. And it's an unbelievable revelation. And that's Ava Rabba. That's a true Ava Rabba, true great love, a true tainug. That's why if you remember all the terminologies that we use in the Tanya, that Ava Rabba, Alter Rebbe says Ava betanugim. It's an Ava of tainug, delight. And what's the expression Pirkei Avos? Yafa, Pirkei Avos says it's better one act of mitzvah in this world than 1,000 years in the world to come. But 1 hour of tainug in Gan Eden, an hour of tainug in Gan Eden is better than 1,000 years of tainug in this world. So you understand, when a tzaddikim have tainug in this world of godliness, now they come up to Gan Eden. They have a tainug that's 1 hour there is more than 1,000 years of tainug that they could have in this world. So you can imagine the tainug they have in the world, in that world in Gan Eden. But tzaddikim that were connected to people in this world, that they not only had a tainug in the learning, but they also had a tainug in helping a yid. Such a thing will never be such a thing that the tzaddik cannot stop.
Rabbi, can you speak a little more English?
Okay.
Sorry. Can you speak a little more English?
Yes.
When you
yes.
say a word,
okay, I will. I
it?
apologize. Okay, tainug is delight. So the delight, since the tzaddik has delight in this world to help others. I mean, the tzaddik doesn't only have delight in his own service of God, in his own development. He also has a delight in helping a yid. He has pasha the delight in touching another Jew, in helping another Jew. He pasha has a delight. It's not something that he does it out of force. He has a delight. He pasha enjoys it. It's expression that the Rebbe, once an elderly lady passed the Rebbe and he said, how do you have the time to stand there for hours upon hours, going through, smiling at people? And how do you do it? How do you push it do it? Begashmias. How do you do it begashmias? It's impossible for an 80, 90-year-old man stand for 7, 8 hours, hand out dollars, talk to people 6 hours, 7 hours straight, and not to show any fatigue and not to be tired after the third hour. The Rebbe said that I look at a yid like a diamond. Which person loses his excitement in counting diamonds? Which person loses that excitement? How can you? I mean, a yid is a diamond. If a yid is a diamond to me, how can I lose my excitement? 10 hours, 20 hours, 30 hours. It's impossible for me to lose my excitement. So that was a tzaddik who not only loved to learn, loved to study, loved godliness, but loved Torah. He loved expansion. He loved the seichel Torah. He was a goyin. He was a genius in Torah. He loved the concept of chidush Torah, how to expound on the Torah, how to develop the Torah, how to teach the Torah. The Rebbe Pashat loved it. You saw the way that he talked, that he loved it, that he loved Torah. He would talk hours upon hours. The Lubavitch Rebbe, if you ever went to Farbrengen by him, he spoke like 7, 8 sichas, an hour long, and there was some of them were deep in nigla, in the esoteric, in the revealed part of Torah. Some of these sichas were deep in Chassidus and Kabbalistic part of Torah, and he spoke without a paper in front of him. He had such a love to the Torah. Torah was like a book in front of him. It was like an open book in front of him. The man could speak hours upon hours in Torah without a piece of paper in front of him. Talk Chol Kalka Torah and say the place, repeat it, say the chapter, the verse, and say exactly what it says there, and all the interpretation. The man was a genius in the aspect of limud Torah. And he sat to learn Torah. We know that the Rebbe sat to learn Torah. He loved Torah. It was his life. And at the same moment, he loved a Yid. He loved Yidden. There was not a Yid that he didn't love. And we know that the Rebbe, I never saw the Rebbe get really emotional. Besides, when it came to two things, the Rebbe got extremely emotional. And that was when it came to a Yid, when he heard that another Yid spoke about a Yid, when another Jew spoke about another Jew, when it came to stick up for you, when it came to stick up for a Jew, he got extremely emotional. And when it came to Eretz Yisrael, he got extremely emotional. When those two things, it's like it revved up in him, the emotions, the compassion, the love of a Yid. You couldn't talk about another Yid. It didn't make a difference to him if it was a good, bad, ugly. It didn't make a difference to him. The man loved Yidden. That it was amazing how much he loved Yidden. He loved Yidden in all ages, in all situations, never ever bothered him. Even though at the same time he knew that he was so much greater than them. He was so much higher than them in knowledge. He was so much deeper than them. But he never showed that to another person. I can go on and on. But that was Moshe Rabbeinu. The truth is, that was Moshe Rabbeinu. And that's, Moshe Rabbeinu is, we give the example of the shepherd who took care of a small sheep and a big sheep and all kinds of sheep. Because that's a true Rebbe, that's a true leader, and that's a true tzaddik. That's a true tzaddik that not only cares about his own spiritual developments, but is willing to give away his spiritual life. Imagine the Rebbe sitting 6-7 hours giving out dollars when he could have been learning. But he could have given somebody else $1 to give out. No, he wanted to give that dollar out. He wanted to inspire that kid. He wanted to uplift that little girl and that little boy and that man and that woman and that elderly man, that young. You saw it. You can watch hours upon hours of that beginning. I look at him, how he loved every person that passed him. And he didn't rush anybody. He didn't say, oh, I got to go. I got to go learn. I got to go my own development in life. That was the Rebbe. And that's true tzidkus. So the Rebbe would always say, and the Frierdiker Rebbe would always say, that a tzaddik, I'm going to translate, that he doesn't leave the sheep of his flock. This expression is Zoya. A tzaddik, a Moshe Rabbeinu, does not leave Am Yisrael. Doesn't make a difference. He goes to Gan Eden. Moshe Rabbeinu never left Am Yisrael. Never left the Jewish nation. He's still here with us. He inspires us. He gives us hope. He gives us He gives us wisdom. He continues to inspire us. So the Rebbe continues to inspire us. So tzaddikim throughout history that gave their life up to Am Yisrael, to the Jewish nation, not only to the concept of Limud Torah, even though they go to Gan Eden, and they go even to the higher level of Gan Eden, the higher level of paradise. They go to Olam Habriya, the world of emanation, the world of creation, with their wisdom, understanding is prevalent over there. The concept of understanding of God is totally revealed there. And there they have this, so all their understanding of God in this world when they come to that world, it's 150 times greater. Can you imagine the delight they're gonna have now in this world? But these tzaddikim say, nevertheless, if a yid comes and asks them and begs by them, they are not gonna give. They're gonna respond. They're gonna continue to respond to Yidden in the world because they had an ava to every Yid. Most Yidden go to Gan Eden Atachten, the lower level of Gan Eden, which is Olam HaYetzirah, which is the world of formation. So over there is a less of understanding of God. There's a diminished level of understanding. Over there, it's more Ava and Yira, the aspect of love and fear, and therefore it's important for us, our Ava and Yira. The more we do an action with Ava, that's where we get our delight in Olam HaEmes. Over here, we do it a little bit, not so totally with Ava. We're trying, as the Alter Rebbe says over here, he's going to say that why it's important to struggle with this Ava and to ultimately try to wake it up some Ava, because that's what we are going to receive in Gan Eden. That's where we're going to receive the concept of the reward for this Ava, the struggle of this Ava. Because in the world of Yitzir, in Gan Eden Atachten, in the lower level of Gan Eden, in the world of formation over there, is the more relevant and prevalent, I don't know what the right English word is, over there is more expounded the aspect of Chesed and Gevura, the aspect of this Ava and Yira. It's not the concept of his bonus of wisdom like it's in the world of Bria, the higher Gan Eden, the higher level of Gan Eden. So, if we can comprehend this, let's try to understand this. So we have, the Alter Rebbe says, he's going to give you, what we're learning over here, we're going to finish this chapter hopefully today. The Alter Rebbe says, in general, we have three Avas. We have Ava Rabba, a great love. This, as I said, is a gift min hashamayim. That's the Ava of tzaddikim. And that's why tzaddikim are bottled. That's why tzaddikim are humble and they're nullified. Why? Because they know it's a gift. They know it's a gift. It's no secret to them that this is a gift min hashamayim. This is a gift that God has given to their soul, that they can reach up to Ava Rabba, they can reach up to this level. Then you have the next Ava, which is Ava Hamasuteres. That's Ava that is given to you mina avos. It's given to us from the patriarchs. That every Jew has. He has this Ava Misuteres. And that can be awakened easily. That, you just have to think about this connection like an Av to a father, like a Ben to a father. We are all banim Hashem Elokeichem. We inherited this love that was given to us from our father and mother, Abraham and Sarah, and they gave us this Ava Meshuteres, this hidden love, instinct love, that this Ava we all, each and every one of us have. But then we have the middle Ava, and that's Avas Olam. Avas Olam, the Ava that I need to find within the world. That means the Ava that I need to find within my own Nefesh HaBahamis. This is the struggling Ava. This is the hard Ava. Just to tell you that the Alter Rebbe is going to talk about the greatness about this love. And we see that the Alter Rebbe loved this Ava, that he changed the Siddur in a way, different than all Ashkenazim Siddur. One of the big differences between Nusach Ari and Nusach Ashkenaz is in the verse before the Shema. There's a paragraph before the Shema, and in the Ashkenaz they say Ava Rabba, and if you look in Nusach Ari, the Alter Rebbe writes Avas Olam Hafton. The Alter Rebbe doesn't use the word Ava Rabba, he uses the word Avas Olam. Because the Alter Rebbe is telling us that not everybody can reach up to the Ava Rabba. Not everybody can reach up to the great love, the love of the light. Most of us have Avas Olam. They love within our physical boundaries, within our physical nature, which is not an easy love, because we have the world to contend with. We have our nefesh habahamis, our animalistic soul, to contend with. And that automatically challenges us and says, what kind of love is this? I don't see the love in it. What are you afraid of, the Eibishter? I don't see the Eibishter to be afraid of. I understand to be afraid of a policeman. I understand to be afraid of the government. I understand to be afraid of sickness. I understand to be afraid of all these things. How am I supposed to be afraid of something I cannot see? So how do I create this love? How do I create a love and a fear to something when I have a challenge to it? I'm a struggling love. And this is the love that most Yidden have. Because we don't have Ava Rabba, we're not tzaddikim, and we weren't given that gift. I mean, we ultimately, the Alter Rebbe said, anybody can ultimately just do such a service to God that he can break through all boundaries, and God can give him another gift, give him, so to say, another neshama, a new neshama. A person can work on himself and become such a great entity that he's given the soul of a tzaddik. He has that capability. But most of us don't have that capability. And we are stuck with a nefesh habahamis. We are, as this book is called, Sefer Shalbeinin, we are the book of the middleman. So we have to struggle to find Ava in this world. That while I'm a physical person, and while I have all physical tendencies, and while I have all physical desires, and I have all these challenges in the world, whether it's money and financial, family and sickness, all these issues, I got a plate full of issues. I got a whole schedule. And now, how do I fit into this schedule? Now I have, God wants me also to love. Now, how am I supposed to do this? How am I supposed to accomplish this? Tell me how to accomplish this. I can, this is not an easy thing. This is very tough. And the Alter Rebbe says, that's the beauty. Tough is the beauty. I don't think you like the answer as much as the question. But the Alter Rebbe says, tough is beautiful. We have to look at tough as being beautiful. Because by our overcoming our nature, by our being tough and surviving the tough and overcoming the tough, we bring out something even that tzaddik cannot bring out. We bring out something in this world that really brings out, the Alter Rebbe says, the purpose of creation. Because the purpose of creation, it was not the tzaddik, was the tough. As the Torah said, the Eibush created the will of the Shamra. Right in the beginning of creation, God says, I created the will of the to work. The tzaddik has no work. He's Muslim. He's complete. He's complete. He might have worked to elevate the world for others. He's complete. He's complete. Famous story of the Chayzim Mablin, that he once came to him and he told him that Mashiach's here. And the Rebbe said this story, the Lubavitch Rebbe said this story. He opened the window, he took a breath outside, and he smelled it. He said, I don't smell Mashiach. And the Rebbe asked the question, why do you have to open the window? Why couldn't he smell it in his room? The Rebbe said, because in his room, Mashiach was there. He was living Mashiach. He was living a godly life. What did he need? He was living. He was sent to the world to inspire others. But he himself was a Muslim, like Moshe Rabbeinu was a Muslim. He was complete. He was not lacking of anything. And therefore, he was complete. Came to the world to take the Yidden out of its life. Came to the world to bring them into, to make them a godly nation. That was his avodah. That was his service, and he struggled in that service. But he himself was a Muslim. And that's why Moshe Rabbeinu says many times, take me out of here. I'm complete. I'm dealing with people that I can't complete that. So I'm struggling. Why not my struggle? I'm struggling that struggle, which it's a very difficult struggle for a tzaddik to do. It's extremely, that's the biggest struggle. It's a tzaddik would want to. Imagine Moshe Rabbeinu, for 75 years, nobody heard of him. And when the Abishah came and said, please take the, he says, I don't want to go. I'd rather stay and be in my little world, be in my godly world, and leave me alone. What do I need this? Why do I need to get involved in this avodah? When as the Moshe Rabbeinu said, he knew Moshe Rabbeinu was a neshama. He knew he's not going to be the ultimate redeemer. He says, "Shlachno biatis." Let's wait. Let the Jews stay in Galus until Mashiach comes. The Jews stay in until Mashiach comes. I'm not going to be the one who's going to take them out of Galus ultimately. This redemption is not going to be a complete redemption. So let them stay in Mitzrayim and let's wait for Mashiach. Why? Because Moshe Rabbeinu says, what do I need to do this? I need to do this for them, and they're not ready. They're not ready. So why do I need to get involved? Let's get involved when they're ready. So that's it. But a tzaddik, but Moshe Rabbeinu with them, ultimately God convinced him, and he was Meister, he went to Mesiras Nefesh. It's a great Mesiras Nefesh for Moses. And the truth is, it's a great Mesiras Nefesh for every tzaddik that needs to go out there and deal with Amcha, with the people, and he can sit pashut and learn Torah, and that's why it's brought down that the many tzaddikim started that nobody knows they're a tzaddik. They want to be a nister. The Baal Shem Tov was a tzaddik nister for many years. Nobody knew he was a tzaddik. Everybody thought he was a malamed. He was a simple teacher. He was a simpleton. He was a simple Jew. Nobody knew that this Jew was a great, unbelievable Jew. But the second they knew that, the second it was revealed, they didn't let him live. Everybody was at his door and everybody was begging him for things. Everybody was asking for questions. Everybody was driving him crazy. So for many years, he sat in his simple world. People thought he was a nobody. He was a simpleton. But really, he was in his own spiritual reality. And there's a lot of people out there that I brought down. There's 36 tzaddikim in the world. He's all right, I think. 36 tzaddikim, or 72, whatever. There needs to be something. So there's tzaddikim hanging around that nobody knows that's tzaddikim maybe. They're pushed in their little world, someplace in Nebraska, I don't know. And they're sitting in their world of godliness. And they're contemplating and meditating and learning spirituality in some place in the Buddha. And that's their avodah. Their avodah is to serve. Are they leaders? No. But the world needs them. We need to have a tzaddik in the world. Without the Rebbe says, that's not the avodah most of us to do. We need to struggle. We need to have the avas olam. We need to have the love through the world. The Eibishter gave us souls of the world of Asiya. The Eibishter, God knows exactly what he's doing. He put you in the world of action. He told you, you have Ava and Yida. And you're going to have to work on this Ava and Yida. It's not going to be easy. You're going to struggle with this Ava and Yida. You're going to struggle. Now you understand why the Rebbe says the Meraglim didn't want to go to Yisrael. They wanted to stay. Why? They wanted to stay in the desert. Wouldn't you want to live in a desert, surrounded by clouds of glory, Mam and Shamayim, water, everything you need, your clothes is growing on you. What do you do? What did the Jews do in the desert? For 40 years, they sat and they learned Torah. They did two things. They fetched and they sat and learned Torah. They complained a lot and they sat and learned Torah 24/7. And that's what they did. Why would anybody want to change that? Why would anybody want to change that? Why would anybody want to go into Yisrael? And now we have to start plowing the land, and we have to start taking care of the earth, and we have to start dealing with food, and where we're going to get our food, and how much food we're going to have. This is my land. This isn't your land. This is my part of the land. Don't step on my part of the land. I don't have the right part of the land. Oh, he has a better land. You know, the tribes not so happy. Some people, oh, the guy had the land of the beach. He has the beach. It's not fair. I got Rocky Place. He got the beach. I have to go and pay him, beach fare. Why? Everybody's complaining. It was always complaints. The second you came into it, so bigger complaints. Now you give people territory and land. It was an issue. It was a problem. So the Jews in the desert said, better, let's stay in the desert. Let's be surrounded by, let's live here forever. And they got their wishes. They lived there until they died. And they lived there forever. There forever for the next 40 years. They lived and they ultimately died. Because that's what the Eibishter wanted. That's what God wanted. God said, I didn't create the world to live in Disneyland. I didn't create the world for this. I didn't create the world for this Ava Rabba, for this delightful love. That you're doing Gan Eden. I created the world of the Shama to work it, to develop it, to struggle with it. That's why I created the world. And why? Because I wanted that there should be darkness. I wanted there should be struggle, because greater the light that comes from darkness, greater the wisdom that comes from folly, greater the excitement that comes from sadness. If there was no sadness, you would not know what simcha is. You would not know what joy is. Because you need the concept of that, you need the darkness to bring out what the greatness of light is. And that's the avodah of, that's our avodah. So let's look at it in the Tanya. It's in front of you. And it's really a little bit spiritual. I'm just gonna, a little bit, it's because of Kabbalistic. And, but it basically expresses what I just said. Let's read it in it. Furthermore, these two categories of love that have been referred to above, the love of my soul and the love like a son, which I mentioned to you before, is Ava Rabba, the love of my soul, and the love of like a son, which is Ava Misuteres, is the love that was given to us by our father Abraham. We have an inherent love. These two loves incorporate a quality of love which is greater and more sublime than intelligent fear and love. So the question out that Rebbe asks, if you have Ava Rabba, the Eibishter gave the capability of delight, the love of delight, and God gave the capability of the love within every single one of us, why do I need Ava Salem? Why do I need the love of the world, the second, the third level? Why can't I just live with those two loves? So either I'm a tzaddik that has the love of delight, or I'm a regular Jew that have an Ava Misuteres, that has an instinct love, and when I need it, I'll reveal it. And until I don't need it, I won't reveal it. So that's why you have Jews that can live their lives, and then you put them to the corner, they'll reveal the love, and they'll bring it out. And if they don't, they don't. And they go through life without having Avas Hashem. And not having Yiras Hashem. But they're still a Yid. They still have Ava. They still have this Ava to the Eibishter. They still have this love to God because they are Yid. They had inherited this love of God in their beings. So they're Yid. As the expression says, even though you sin, you're still a Yid. So what do I need to have anything else? I'm a Yid, right? I can sin. I can do whatever I want. I'm a Yid. You can't take away from me that. It's inheritance of my father. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. What else do I need? What else? I know I'm not going to be a tzaddik. I'm not going to have a love of delight. But I have a Ava Misuteres. I have a hidden love. So why do I need anything else? Why do I need to have the next love? The love termed above Avas Olam. Why do I need that? But the Rebbe says, the Alter Rebbe says, nonetheless, a person must train his intellect and apprehend and attend the above mentioned love of Avos. We need to do that. We need to do that. Guys, you're going to throw in the towel, then you're throwing in the towel. You're giving up. So if you say, listen, I'm gonna wait till I have Ava Rabba, great love, which I may never have. Oh, I have this hidden love because I'm a Jew. So I have this hidden love. So whatever, I have it. So it's good to always have something in it's good to have always a plan B. But meanwhile, I'm in plan A. No, my friends. Alter Rebbe says, no, that's what you brought to the world. You were brought to the world. Why did the Eibishter take the Ava that was given to us by the patriarchs and made it Misuteres? He hid the love because he said, then I don't have avodah. I don't have service. I don't have development in the world. I need development. I created the world so that the world would be developed. Not only developed physically, but developed spiritually. And that's up to me and you to develop this Ava, to create an Avas Olam. Why? Alter Rebbe says, because when we reveal our Ava in the world, the Hag del Madriga says, in order to fan a blaze of failure. The Alter Rebbe says the Avas Rabba and the Ava Misoteres is not a burning, it's not. And therefore, tzaddik can be hidden, and a Jew that doesn't do nothing can be hidden. You don't even know he's Jewish because he's not a fire. A Jew that comes over a challenge is a Jew on fire. We're looking for the fiery Jew. We're looking for Ishpe Eshel Heves Azol Av Oila Shamaima, with a glowing clothes and intense fire, the flame that rises heavenwards. That's what we're looking for. And why? Because this love that we reveal as simple people, because we're not tzaddikim, this love that if we can create this Ava through the world, standing, contemplating godliness, learning Torah, doing more actions, speaking the love that I mentioned before, we create a fire in this world. We create a burning bush. And what happens? And it creates no rivers can quench it. This love, this Ava that we Jews create in the world is an Ava that cannot be broken. We are the ones that create this unbreakable penetration between us and HaKadosh Baruch. It's not the tzaddikim, self-understood. It's not the shoyim, self-understood too. It's the struggling Jew that has a struggle, that needs to break through the struggle, that needs to break through his nefesh habahamis, his animal soul. He needs to create a love of the Eibishter. This love that he creates in this world is a burning bush. It's a fire that no water can quench. Not a tzaddik can accomplish it. Surely not a Russia. Only the Benin, only the struggling Jew can accomplish this fire in the world. And that's the power. That is the power. We're going to bring Mashiach, my friends. Not the tzaddik. Surely not the Russia, the wicked person. We, the Benin, the one who's going to break all boundaries, the ones that's going to burn the fire. Fight the fight. Get into the trenches with the Marines. And that's what we got to do. We have to do that. Alter Rebbe said, if we're not going to do that, chas v'shalom, this guy's going to disappear. If you're not going to have the layman, not the scholars, not the great tzaddik, you're not going to have the layman, the regular Jew, break through his struggles and reveal his ava to the Eibishter. That's it. Then waters will quench. We're going to disappear. So thank God for the Jews throughout history who never gave up, not because they were great tzaddikim, not because they were great sages, because they had a love of the Eibishter in their mind. They conjured an understanding of God, whatever their understanding was, and it was not such a great understanding. It was a simplistic understanding, but their understanding gave them the capability to overcome the challenge. And that's what life's all about. That's why the Eibishter created the world. That's why that. For there is a superior excellence in the quality of a learned love burning like fiery coals and an intense flame, which comes from an understanding and knowledge of the greatness of the blessed and eternal. Over the two categories of love referred to above, when they are fierce coals and ablaze, they're much better, the Alter Rebbe says. Even though you're not going to be a tzaddik, trust me, the Alter Rebbe says. This Ava is greater. The world will accomplish with this Ava of a Jew that overcomes his challenge, even in the Ava of a tzaddik. And the Alter Rebbe gives a mashal. The Alter Rebbe gives a mashal. He said an analogy. He says, Ki yisen u'mailas hazov ala kesef, as a superiority of the excellence of gold over silver, and so forth, as we'll explain later. So gold is more precious. It's harder to get, but its value is much greater. Somebody asked a question in chat. I can't find it. What was the question? A lot of the Jews are struggling with Yiddish. That's not your fault. That's my fault. I'm just used to saying things in Yiddish. I greatly apologize. You should always ask, and you should unmute yourself and ask, and I apologize. Right? That's my fault. It's not your fault. I'm just used to my mama lashon. I speak in Yiddish. That's my yeshivish way of saying. Okay, so this is, and as the Alter Rebbe says, it continues. This is the whole of man, and his reason that is the purpose of his life. That's why God's saying to the world, you want to be somebody else. You want to be the righteous man. You're not. God sent you to the world for that purpose. So how can you change the purpose of HaKadosh Baruch Hu? How can you change the purpose of God? David sent you to the world. You want something else? You can't. This is the purpose of the world. This is why God sent me to the world. God didn't send me to the world to be somebody else. He sent me to the world to be me. And David knows exactly who I am. He knows exactly the Yitzhak I have. He knows exactly the level of soul he has. And the Abish God says, I never sent you to the world to do this. Not to do something else, but to do this. Yesterday, the Hayoim Yoim. I'm going to read to you the Hayoim Yoim. I'm going to get it in English. The Rebbe is the Hayoim Yoim day to day. I'm going to read to you the Hayoim Yoim of yesterday, the 5th day of Tammuz. The Rebbe writes, one of the Alter Rebbe, great and very close Chassidim, had a Yechidus, private audience with the Alter Rebbe, in the course of which the Rebbe inquired of the situation. The Rebbe asked him, how are you doing? How are you doing? How are you in life? The Chassid complained bitterly that his financial situation had utterly deteriorated. I'm losing everything I have. It's going downhill. The Alter Rebbe responded, you are needed to illuminate your environment with Torah, avodah of the heart, davening. That's what you needed. The Eibishter God said, I need you. And the proof that I need you, I created you. I need you. And what do I need you for? I need you to serve godliness. That's what you are needed. Livelihood is what you need. This is what God needs. And this is what you need. What does God need? To you, to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to bring light to the world. That's what you're needed. You are needed for. It's not what you need, it's what you're needed for. Don't become needy. It's what you're needed for. The Eibishter created you in the world. He created me in the world for one thing. For one thing. And that is to illuminate your environment with Torah avodah. And the Alter Rebbe continues. Lively is what you need. That God must provide you. You must do what you must do. And God will do what he must do. The question is, what am I needed for? What am I needed? Not what I need. I know what I need. I can give you a list. What am I needed for? Not what I need, what am I needed for? The Alter Rebbe just answered you what you're needed for. Zeh kol adam. What am I? The Alter Rebbe just said what he said to the Chassid in Hayoim Yoim. What are you needed for? You needed, your soul came down to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Your soul came down to daven in the morning. Your soul came down to give tzedakah in the morning. Your soul came down to learn Torah. That's what you are needed for. Now, once you do what you needed for, God will give you what you need. So here the Alter Rebbe tells us that the struggle, you're right, it's a struggle. The guy said, I have no parnasa. Now, we all know when the guy doesn't have parnasa, he doesn't have a livelihood, it's going to be hard for him to do his avodah. It's human nature. I'm not a tzaddik. I'm losing my parnasa. I'm living in a tough situation. It's hard for me to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's hard for me. The Alter Rebbe says, but that's what you need for. That's what you were created for. That's what you needed for. That's, I mean, the parnasa is what you need. But it's not what you needed for. You needed, your soul came down to the world to reveal God. Is going to be easy? No. Is it going to be hard? Yes. Mother would tell me things that are hard is what is usually what is important. If it's easy, it's probably not important. This is important. This concept is important. That one may know the glory of God and the majestic splendor and his greatness, each according to the limits of his capacity. Nobody asked you to do it another person's way. Nobody asked you to be somebody else. Each according to his capacity. Everybody needs to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu, my friends, each according to his capacity. You're not asked to be a sage. You're not a sage. You're not asked to be a student. You're not a student. You're not asked to be somebody else. Abish to send down your neshama to serve him and to bring godliness to the world in the level that you are in. Not more and not less. Surely not less. More, we always can go more Kedusha. We always can go more, but surely not less. As is written in Ayim in Pashas by the Kabbalah, in order that they may know him, and so forth, as it's done. That is the purpose of why I came to the world. And that's how the Alter Rebbe ends chapter 44. The Alter Rebbe says, I explained to you that there's 3 levels of Ava. Ava Rabba, Ava Musuteres. There's an Ava great delight. There's a hidden thing that was given to you by the patriarchs. And the most important Ava is the struggling Ava. This Ava is going to change the world. Not the Ava Rabba, not the Ava Musuteres, not the great love, not the hidden love, but the Avas Olam. The love that we're gonna show that we're gonna show that the Eibishter loves us in this world. That's why I go read the paragraph before the Shema. Avas Olam Havtonu Hashem Elokeinu. The Eibishter loves this world. He loves the world. How am I gonna show that? By what does the Eibishter love the world? He loves this world because he can be revealed in this world, because he can have a dira, because he can have a dwelling place in this world. And the Eibishter knows that he can reveal himself in this world more than he can reveal himself in any other world. And therefore he has such an ava to this olam. And he says that how are you going to reveal this ava to the world if you're going to have an ava to the world? If you're going to do your avodah. I'm by creating the world and creating you, I need you. The Eibishter became needy. The Eibishter says, I need you. I need you to break through this olam, this helam that I created, this choshech that I created. I created the choshech. Who created the choshech? Who created the evil? Who created the Yetzer Hara? I created the Yetzer Hara. Any Jew in the world created the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination. God created the evil inclination. We say it in our davening. The Eibishter created light and he created darkness. Actually, if you look at the words of the Siddur, it says Yotzer, he formed light, but he created darkness. Who did he create darkness? And why did he do that? Because the God knew that the Ur that's going to be revealed in this darkness is an Ur that is not revealed anywhere else in any other creation, in any other world. The Ur, the one mitzvah, that's why it says, Yafa sha'achas, va'ilam haza, the one mitzvah. That's the Ur, not the Tanya, the Ur. The Ur that the Eibishter created, that God created in the first day of creation, that Ur is going to be revealed by us doing this one mitzvah that we maybe are struggling to do. Maybe we have no desire to do it. Maybe we're lazy. But we're going to think about God. We say, wait a second. I'm going to think about the Eibishter once a day. Really, the Alter Rebbe wanted that each and every one of us to think about God every day. Have you thought about it? Not to just do because it says, think about the Eibishter. If we can think about God every single day for a little while, contemplate. The Eibishter loves me. God loves me. That's what the Chacham actually wanted, the concept of prayer, that we would pray and we would praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We would think about God as bonus and tefillah. To think about the Eibishter, think about God, think about God's love to you, think about God's love to the Torah, think about God's love to the world. And then say, so if God has a love to the world, what was the love of the world? To bring the oil, to bring the oil of God into the world. That's why God loved this world, because the oil, the light that will be revealed in this world, will be a light that is the light that God created in the first day of creation. It's a light that only this world can reveal, that only this mitzvah can reveal. So my friends, if we do a mitzvah, and we did the mitzvah of the Eibishter, but if we do it because we love the Eibishter, we reveal a light that is, as the Alter Rebbe says over here, it's a light, kiddush pe'esh. It's a light that's a burning fire that's going to change the world and will never be taken away. This light is a burning fire. The mitzvah can never be taken away. That good deed can never be taken away. We are transformed the world with a fire, with an oil, with a light that will permeate the world in all its levels and will be here la'olam var. We've made the world a concept that can never be broken, never be changed, and never be transformed. And that's the greatness, the Alter Rebbe says, of our avodah, our service in the world, that we can be able to reveal this ava to the world, this love to the world. I want to wish you all, finish chapter 44 in Tanya. I want to wish you all a wonderful and beautiful day, a happy day, a healthy day, and we should